Thank you for tuning in to MacReview Television, and welcome to another special edition on the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host and program moderator, Wu Ruiguo. In our continuing series on U.S.-Taiwan and cross-strait relations, we will have another direct dialogue between policy experts from the United States and also representatives of government and also the opposition party here in Taiwan. Let me start off by introducing them to our viewers at home. First, starting with my left, is Professor Steve Goldstein, who's a professor of political science at Smith College and also a director of the Taiwan Studies Workshop at the Fairbank Center at Harvard University. Welcome to the program, Steve.
Thank you very much, Raymond. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Yes. Well, next to Steve, we have Mr. Alan Romberg, who is a former deputy spokesperson for the U.S. State Department and currently the director of the East Asian program at the Stimson Center in Washington, D.C. Alan, welcome.
Thank you very much, Raymond. Like Steve, I'm very pleased to be here and look forward to the discussion with some old friends here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have both of you on the program. And from Taiwan, we'll have first Ms. Bi-khim Hsiao, who is the director of International Affairs Department at the Democratic Progressive Party and also a party spokesperson. Welcome to the program, Bi-khim.
Thank you, Raymond. I'm happy to be here again, and I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year 2010.
And last, certainly not least, we have Professor Zhao Chien-Min, who's currently the Deputy Minister of the Mainland Affairs Council in the government. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Raymond. Pleased to be here.
Yes. Anyway, let's start off with you, Deputy Minister Zhao.
All right.
And let's take a look back to cross-strait relations in the year 2009. As we know, that there were two more summit meetings between the Straits Exchange Foundations from Taiwan and also the Associations for Relations Across the Taiwan Strait from China. And there were eight more agreements were signed and one joint declaration that was entered into back in April of 2009. Then, Deputy Minister, can you then share with us first your perspective on the state of cross-strait relations today?
Actually, it's very good. I mean, the tensions in the region have been dramatically reduced. Before President Ma Ying-jeou took office in May 2008, we all understand the relations weren't that peaceful and the stability was somehow missing there. In the past 18, 19 months, we have been able to restore peace and stability.
Okay.
We have also been able to make the transport links direct, which is benefiting nearly 5 million Taiwanese passengers over the air. And we have also signed last year along six agreements, but overall since May 2008, 12 such agreements have been signed. Beyond the direct transportation, we have signed judicial cooperation agreement with Mainland China. And since its signing last April, we have been able to repatriate 12 Taiwanese fugitives back to Taiwan. And if you pay attention, I'm sure people feel safer nowadays. We are less harassed by those, crime telephone calls made by people hiding in Southeast coast of mainland China. We also made the headway in terms of expanding our international space. It was quite good advancement there as well.
Okay.
So overall, we feel we have a safer, more secure Taiwan, and we are economically we are also benefiting, and we are less crime and so on. I think it's good here.
And when we look at the previous 4 summits between CEF and IRADS, mostly the focus was on normalizing commercial and transportation relations.
Yes.
Can we expect more of the same for the year 2010? Or are we going to have a different focus in cross-strait relations in the year 2010?
We have a very daunting task ahead for this new year. We like to sign an economic cooperation framework agreement with mainland China because we think if we don't, Taiwan will be marginalized. facing this international economic integration in this region.
Okay.
There are about 60, to be exact, 59 free trade agreements signed bilaterally and collectively in this region.
Okay.
But Taiwan has been able to sign none with all those, we are none of those 59 FTAs in this region. This is a great concern to us. So with luck and effort, we should be able to, to get one with China signed. And if that's the case, we have a good year to looking forward to.
Okay. Of course, we're going to come back to ECFA issue later on in the program. I'm going to now shift my attention on to our visitor from the U.S., Steve. Can you then share with us, in addition to the A agreements and also the one joint declaration that entered into between China and Taiwan in the year 2009, there was also a financial MOU that was signed on November 16th of 2009, which will be effective January 16th, 2010. How would you then, from United States, watching all these progress and developments in cross-strait relations, how would you then assess the economic relations between the two sides? Would you have any concerns or apprehension over the fact, as we often talk about within Taiwan, that we're leaning too much on China economically?
It's a big question. I think and I certainly don't speak for the United States, but I certainly think that there is very little concern, at least among some specialists in the political economy field and in the China field, about the current growth of relations between the mainland and Taiwan. I think there is, in the first place, a realization that this is a natural market.
Yes.
Both in terms of culture and politics, and in terms of complementary economics. I think in the second place, there's less concern than apparently there is in Taiwan, again, among some of us, about possible leverage that the mainland might have. And I think there are three reasons why there is less concern.
Please.
I think in the first place, it's generally thought that in terms of past history, the mainland has been very, very reluctant and very cautious in using political leverage in relation to trade relations, or rather to leverage trade relations for political purposes. I think secondly, the argument would go that the level, even though it seems very high as far as Taiwan is concerned, of current trade does not begin to reach the point where, at least with past experiences, that there is over-dependence. And there's been a lot of academic work done on that. At what point do you cross a line and become dependent? I think finally and lastly, as far as the mainland's concerned, to use Taiwan's investment for political purposes is a very tricky tool. In the first place, in certain industries, Taiwan is a major employer. You've got a leadership on the mainland now that's very concerned with social stability. Secondly, the focus of a good deal of Taiwan investment is in providing goods that are then sold under other trademarks. So, for example, if you sanction Taiwan laptop producers, you're really sanctioning Hewlett-Packard, Dell, and other producers in the United States. And finally, in terms of the more general impact, if China cannot afford really to undermine the confidence that foreign investors have in the stability of China, and in the fact that China will allow for legal foreign investment that complies with rules to exist without using it for political leverage. For all those reasons, I think there's less concern.
I'm going to turn to Bi-khim. Bi-khim, from the perspective of the opposition, do you think there's increasing dependence on China economically for Taiwan?
Well, the quality as well as the quantity and the depth of the economic interaction has certainly been growing over the past year.
Yes.
But from our perspective, as far as we're looking at the year 2009, I think people have been rather disappointed in the actual impact or the contribution that economic ties with China would have on Taiwan's economy. I think President Ma, when he was elected in the year 2008, did win on promises of better economic performance.
Yes.
And part of the argument of forging closer economic ties with China, according to the president and his government, was that closer ties with China should have a positive contribution on our economy.
Should provide a boost.
But I think our economy has underperformed over the last year. And so the enhancing of economic ties with China has not come in direct positive proportion to bettering economic conditions in Taiwan. Unemployment is at a record high. We are seeing people growing increasingly anxious about future prospects, and in fact, support rate for cross-strait economic further engagement, such as the government's proposal of ECFA, we can see in the polls it is actually decreasing. And I think this is a result of failing economic performances over the last year.
We're going to talk about that gap between aspiration and reality when we take another break. We'll be right back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'll see you in 3 minutes.